Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel for the first time in a very long time. We are back doing some college football content here on the YouTube. Now, for those of you who tuned in for the Coastal Carolina Dynasty, unfortunately, I had to end that one way earlier than I had planned. I had a lot of stuff going on personally that I had to get taken care of, which unfortunately took me away from being able to upload to YouTube. However, now we are back, and I wanted to start brand new if we were going to do this again. So I decided to roll with the team that I had talked about in a video going into this college football season, and that is the Stanford Cardinal. Now, my whole goal here is to try to bring Stanford back to some of its former glory. They had a really good run in the 2000s, and it's been down the last couple of years. Jim Harbaugh, David Shaw, that era was really, really good, but it took a turn for the worse. So I want to be able to get this program back. Now, we are in the ACC with this team now. It's going to be a little more daunting than it was in the Pac-12, that is for sure. But I feel like we might be able to do it here at Stanford. But I want to bring back the days of Toby Gerhardt, Andrew Luck, Christian McCaffrey, Richard Sherman, all those dogs. So let's see if we can't make that happen here in this dynasty starting today. Let's take a look at what we're going to have to work with here year one in Stanford. I want to get a look at this roster. I know we've got some decent players here, but obviously I don't think the depth is what we want it to be. So you see we're topping at 89 overall. We got two guys there, so just shy of 90. Some decent overall players here. Not as many in the 80s as you want to see, especially for being in the ACC. But this roster is not devoid of talent, so we should be okay. So the quarterback room honestly does not look horrible. We got Ashton Daniels here. He's going to be our starter in year number one. Got a nice backup in Justin Lamson here. He's also a redshirt junior. And then we got a true freshman quarterback, Elijah Brown. We're probably going to end up redshirting him, but I'm going to be honest. If this season goes the way that I think it may go, we're going to play him. I want to get him in his 4 games before we throw that red shirt on him, just to see if he's going to be the future for us. So taking a look at the running back room, it's just kind of okay. I mean, Cedric Irvin should be a solid player. He is only a sophomore with 89 speed at 77 overall. Ryan Butler behind him, 5'11", 210. He's more of the prototype size that I want to see. He is a junior, but 86 speed is really hampering him. Micah Ford may be okay. He is only a freshman, so if he progresses, then we might actually have something there. Running back's going to be something we look to recruit. Like I said, to run the style of offense that I want to be able to run here at Stanford, we're going to need a bigger back. I need somebody who can take that punishment, deliver that punishment. Now, this is where we finally have something to look forward to here. We have a playmaker on the outside in Elick Iamaner. He is without a doubt going to be the focal point of our passing game. And the best part about it is he's only a redshirt sophomore. Could he go pro after this year? Sure. Is Stanford going to be good enough to get him there? Probably not. So behind Iamaner, we got Ishmael Cisse, a true freshman, 78 overall with 91 speed, 6 foot, 200 pounds out of Denver. Could develop into a pretty nice player here. In all honesty, this wide receiver room is not horrible. It's decently young and quite a bit of depth. I was expecting this to look a lot worse than what it does, so we may actually be able to throw the ball pretty decent here. Again, same thing with the tight end room. A lot of depth in here. Not a lot of terrific playmakers, maybe some guys that can develop into the future, but we got a lot of bodies. And then Sam Rowell should be a nice first-year tight end for us here. He is a junior, so we have the chance to have him for 2 seasons. The offensive line, all right, so left tackle here, not too bad. Left guard looks solid. We're going to play around with some of these pieces in the early part of the season. I really want to tool around with the offensive line. If guys are not going to be cutting it, if we're giving up a lot of pressures from certain spots on the line, we're not going to be afraid to shift some guys around here and try to patchwork this to make it look good. But we got some decent quality here. We got some decent depth in it too. Honestly, Stanford does not look horrible. I'm surprised they're as bad as they are in real life. We're going to chalk that up to the coaching most likely. But yeah, I mean, the players here don't look too bad. Defensive end, I mean, it is what it is. We are running a 3-4 scheme, so we're not going to have a lot of pass rush coming from defensive ends. Defensive tackles, this is where we need to find us some guys here. Not a lot of size in a 3-4 scheme. I don't like a 270-pound defensive tackle, so definitely go look to recruit some players there. Outside linebacker, we talked about David Bailey, one of our 289 overalls we got on this team here. He's got the power rusher archetype, so should be okay for us on that side. Middle linebacker, a ton of bodies in this room. Gathan Bernadelle is going to be our starting middle linebacker here. He is the captain of the defense. Wilfredo Ibar on the right outside here, 6'2", 255, also a power rusher. Like to see a decent speed rusher here, but I'm not seeing any on this roster. I didn't see if we had any left. Do we have any? Is it all power rushers here? We got one run stopper and a bunch of power rushers. So let's look to recruit some athletes on the outside here at linebacker. Cornerback room, again, this is not horrible. 89 overall, Colin Wright, we know he's going to be a stud for us here. Zarin Manley behind him should be a solid number 2. A lot of depth again. We got some young guys in here, 3 true freshmen, 2 of them look like they could be some players here. True junior Scotty Edwards is going to be man in the free safety position for us here. Not a lot of speed though, only 85. That could be a problem. The secondary, I got to be honest, it's pretty slow. It's pretty slow. 88 from the strong safety here. We definitely need to recruit some athletes in the secondary. I can see this is going to be the problem. I will say this, the secondary is not going to be winning any track meets. That is for sure. Couple of kickers on the roster. Got a sophomore punter, so we don't have to worry about recruiting anything there. Overall, not a bad roster. Like I said, the quarterback room, this is going to be the interesting one for us here. Ashton Daniels is going to be the starter. I want to get a look at Elijah Brown. If this season starts out horrible, I'm not against playing the true freshman right off the rip. I mean, he has the best throw power on the team here. His accuracies are not horrible either. He may be the best quarterback on the team already. I'm not 100% sure. Now, as far as the schedule goes, I don't know if I'm going to make any changes. If I do, it's going to be taking FCS out. I just don't like playing FCS schools. Even though this is year 1, I'd like to get a feel for the team. I'd rather just put a smaller conference school on the schedule instead. So we're probably going to end up doing that. We open up with Syracuse at Syracuse. So that's going to be the start of the conference schedule for us here. You got Clemson and Clemson. Get Virginia Tech at home. We got to travel to Notre Dame, which is going to be a hell of a test. SMU, if they're anything in this game like they have been in real life this year, this is going to be a problem. NC State can be a solid one. Louisville ranked. How is Louisville? Were they that good going into this season? Has Louisville done anything this? I have not paid a lick of attention to Louisville. I don't know what they've done this year. We get the rivalry game with Cal here in week 13, and then we finish it off with San Jose State. Now, San Jose State was the other school that I was really contemplating on using, and then I saw that San Jose State actually just beat Stanford in real life. So Stanford it is. That's how we ended up with this. All right, so we did take FCS West off, or Southwest, or whoever it was. We put New Mexico on the schedule. I wanted to put a school on there that was actually a school. So New Mexico it is. It should serve as a pretty decent tune-up game here. The TCU game is going to be difficult. That's going to be difficult. I don't know why that's our week 1 matchup. I probably should swap these two. But let's take a look at the recruiting board here. And I surprisingly had several 5-stars that were interested in coming to Stanford. Now, we're not going to put a whole bunch of these guys on the board because I'm not going to allocate that many hours into trying to recruit just a handful of 5-star prospects. We did add 2 to the board though, and Sony Head is going to be the first guy we're going to take a look at here. He is a cornerback out of Concord, California, 98 speed, 91 acceleration, 6'2", 204. He is the #1 ranked prospect in the entire country. He wanted to come here. He was interested in coming here. I could not turn that down. Now we are 8 on his interest list, and we got a bunch of heavy hitters ahead of us, including Oregon, which is going to be tough to overtake. But we talked about needing athletes in the secondary. There's probably not a better one in the country than Sony Head. What could end up being our quarterback of the future, Eric Atwell, another 5-star kid. This one's out of Lincoln, California here. You look at his stats, absolutely nuts. 93 throw power, 87 deep accuracy, break sack at 86. I mean, this guy looks like an absolute stud. Now, can we land him? I have no idea. Are we going to try? Hell yeah. But once again, Oregon and USC are both ahead of us. Got a few 4-stars on here as well. Center JD Shabazz. He was one of the better offensive linemen that we found. Couldn't really find any tackles that I like, so we ended up putting the center on the board and then a few guards as well. So we're going to try to build up some depth on the interior of this offensive line. JD looks like a solid player here. We got another 4-star here in Richard Bakhtiari, running back out of Morrilton, Arkansas. 5'11", 227. He's got the power back archetype. This is the type of guy we need to run the system we want to run here at Stanford. Now, we have got a ton of heavy hitters on the board. We're not even on his list of interest. Got us a 4-star offensive guard here out of Hawaii. We're number 3 on his list. Once again, SC ahead of us, so we're really gonna throw some time at him. I want to land this guy. Anybody we're this high up on the interest list to start, I've got to be able to try to land these players. Once again, talking about adding athletes to the secondary. Free safety Percy Dahl out of Atwater, California. 94 speed, 93 acceleration. This is the type of player we need back there in the secondary. We got to put some speed back there. One of my favorite names in all of recruiting, Ricky Nicky, right in out of Lake Oswego, Oregon. We are throwing him on the board simply because of the name alone. Now, could I use him? Yes. Does he have the size? 6'2", 298? Yes. He's kind of built like the prototype 3-4 defensive end, but that name alone is why he ended up on this board. I love it. I want him. Devontae Bullock. Now, this is going to be an interesting player right here. He's a 3-star athlete out of Auburn, Washington. 6'3", 198. I think he's prototyped as a physical receiver. He is. I don't know if receiver is going to be where he ends up, but that type of size, if he can put a little more weight on, I'm curious if he can't be one of these guys we move out the outside linebacker, get the pass rusher out of him. I like his speed, but I'm not really crazy about his wide receiver stats. So we're going to see. I just want to keep him on the board. I want to see if this is somebody we can maybe transition to another position. Got a 3-star gem here at right guard. Now, the biggest knock I have on him, if you look at that run block at 59, that is absolutely atrocious. He looks like a terrific pass blocker, which I guess we do need to recruit some of those. 6'3", 295. Like I said, the run blocking scares the mess out of me though. Whether he'll ever develop, be somebody for us, I don't know. But I'm hoping nobody else offers him in week 1, and maybe we just get a jump and get us a lineman right off the rip. Another player that I really want to land here, Iosefa North. He is a 3-star defensive tackle out of Carmel, California. We're 8th on his interest list. He does not have a ton of big schools though. We are probably the biggest school on his list outside of UCLA. And at 6'5", 316, my man is an absolute space eater. This is something we need on the interior of the defensive line. I would absolutely love to land him. He's going to be one of the focal points of recruiting this year. We need the big bodies inside, and he looks like he could be a terrific player. Now, we did find our first bust here, free safety Tony DeBeer. Once again, 90 speed is the only reason why he's still on the board. Man coverage is actually not horrible. I'm wondering if he's maybe somebody we might be able to move into the slot at some point. We'll see. I mean, he's got, like I said, decent athletic traits. Could be just a depth piece in the long run for us here. Channing Wolford, again, not an elite athlete here, but somebody, like I said, we need players. So we're going to try to bring him in. He doesn't look horrible. I actually don't mind it at all. Man coverage at 64 is a little disappointing. But at a 3-star, I mean, you're going to kind of get what you get here. Going after a couple outside linebackers here. Once again, power rushers is about all we're really finding in this recruiting class here. I'm not finding a whole lot for speed. Both these guys got prototype size, though. We're going to see if they develop into anything for us. 2-star tight end Austin Keenan. Like I said, I don't really know if I like what I have at tight end right now. I know Roush is going to be solid, but we only got him for 2 years. Behind that, I don't know where we're going to get. David Anderson, another 2-star prospect here. He's got run stoppers as his tendency. He is projected to be a middle linebacker. We'll see. He's got the size for it here, especially in the 3-4 scheme. So it's just kind of one of these players we're throwing on the board, hoping and praying a little bit. Another player that's on the board solely for the name alone, Tim McCracken. Can you have a better fullback name? I love it. 5'9", 220 out of Laguna Hills, California. He is part of the all-name team here on the recruiting board today. So you never know. Could be an absolute stud. Hoping and praying it can be. And then rounding out the recruiting board here, we got a 2-star gem. I was actually kind of surprised to find this because I don't know if I've actually found a 2-star gem before, but Duke Phillip, offensive guard, is going to be the last man on the board here. So that gives us 18 targets to start the season. Whether we're going to end up with a lot of these guys, I don't know. It's going to be tough sledding, especially the 5 stars. They're going to be really hard to bring in, even the 4 stars. I'm really hoping we got a shot at the running back. And then maybe, just maybe, we can try to bring Stanford back to its former glory. That is going to be the goal here. That is where we're going to leave off episode 1, guys. If you want to keep following along here with the series, you know what to do. Hit the subscribe button. We will be back shortly with the first game of the season with TCU. I will catch y'all in the next one. Take it easy. Peace.